Dan, I'm to the point where now, man, I'm such on a level. I don't get caught up in the BS of sports.
What's up, y'all? I'm AJ Simmons with the Clean Biz Network. Today, I'm going to do a little different video than what I typically do because I make videos for entrepreneurs, and this video will be for entrepreneurs, but I'm going to take a different perspective because I want you to watch this clip of this footage of Charles Barkley basically exposing the whole media industry, okay? Take a look at this footage real quick.
Spike Lee, what do you think about what happened with Spike Lee and the next Charles?
Well, number one, I wake up to that song every day and let me know that no matter how successful you are, you're going to have haters. So Nas gets me up every day to go to war for life. I love that brother. And I think it's much ado about nothing. I think it's no big deal. I think we're wasting our time and energy when we got other stuff going on. Dan, I'm to the point where now, man, I'm such on a level. I don't get caught up in the BS of sports. It's so funny how stupid the public are. Like, we get to tell them what they get to talk about all day long because the nitwits on TV every morning who set the agenda. And I'm like, that's not a story. Nobody cares about that. Nobody, man, I don't even waste my time on BS anymore.
Which nitwits?
I'm just trying to make it 4 more years, brother, till I'm 60, and then I'm retired. I'm just trying to make it to 60, brother.
Now, notice in that footage what Charles Barkley was trying to explain to people, okay? He basically just blew the whole cover of everything, right? Basically what he was saying is most of the masses, we waste our time focusing so much on what these talking heads say, whether it be not just sports, it could be the news, it could be books, it could be anything. So much propaganda on the internet, it comes from different places, right? And they basically tell you what to think. Like, think about it. Nobody was really debating LeBron versus Jordan until they told us to think about it, okay? They started putting it on ESPN everywhere. Next thing you know, they were debating on social media everywhere, right? And they tell you basically exactly what to think, okay? So unless you know what's going on and you won't fall for it. This man was basically like, look, I'm just here. I'm just trying to do the bare minimum until I retire, okay? I'm really tired of this shit. It's stupid. It has nothing to do with people's real life and it won't affect them in any real way. So why are we even discussing it? And that's what you got to think about, man, especially as entrepreneurs. Like, you have to think about what propaganda are you falling for? I always tell people, if you have a political party that you have an allegiance to, you probably part of the sheeple. Unfortunately, you haven't awakened yet, okay? Because it doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat, okay? 9 times they all go off together, okay? It doesn't really matter which side you're on. Don't choose a side. If you're going to vote, then vote based on the person and what they stand for, okay? And not to get political, okay? But just in general, a lot of times you can turn the news off. Just turn it off because there's so much propaganda. I don't know if you guys ever seen that video that went viral where you have local stations all over the country saying the exact same thing with the exact same tone of voice, but yet they're supposed to be independent journalists, right? Well, why are they all saying the same thing like that?
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
The El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news
has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 You know what I mean? It's propaganda. Look at movies. They all try to send you a subliminal message, okay? And so what you got to be able to do is you got to realize what's going on and think bigger than what they're trying to program you to think. And use your own brain and critical think, okay? Like, don't just debate LeBron versus Jordan just because it's the popular thing to do, okay? Don't just go watch the most popular movie right now because everybody's talking about it. Don't go rush and get a fucking Popeye's chicken sandwich because everybody's fighting over it. You know what I mean? Don't be a follower. Think about, okay, why is this happening? You know what I mean? Why are we rushing to do this? You know what I mean? Don't be, a lot of times if you just do the opposite of what everybody is doing, you probably can be successful, okay? And I got that from Earl Nightingale. Go look up Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret Ever, okay? Look that up, man, because people just don't think anymore. All we do is follow without asking why things are the way they are. You know, a lot of people wear the mask for this COVID-19 stuff, thinking that the mask is protecting them from catching the virus. The virus can penetrate through those masks, okay? The purpose of the mask is to protect you from touching your face and also to protect you from projecting any germs you might have from going outside of, you know what I mean, your mouth to somebody else or anything like that. But it really doesn't actually protect it from protruding in for the most part, okay? So understand, like, why you doing things. Start researching and digging deeper on stuff. Don't fall for so much propaganda, man. I think about, because I'm a Wizards fan too now. Don't get me wrong, I watch sports, right? But I'm a Wizards fan. And earlier this season, there was so much talk about trading Bradley Beal, right, to the Lakers, right? And so I'm in this group or whatever with the Wizards fans and stuff. And we'll sit there, and that's my little escape when I want to get away from business, right? And so the moment that ESPN and Bleacher Report put that out, that, oh, they should trade Bradley Beal to the Lakers for Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma and all these people, right? And it's like, wait a minute. Wizards, how is that going to make us better? That's only making a big market team better, right? So it's like, but so many people will fall for us. Yeah, we need to trade Beal. And it's like, well, why? Why? Unless it's actually a deal like that's going to make the team better, why would we do it? And so it's just one example of media propaganda. You weren't even thinking about it. That thought never crossed your mind to just trade this guy. You know what I mean? Trade him for what? Oh, because we might not be able to keep him. The guy had 2 years left on his deal. What do you mean you might not keep him? That's not even this year's problem. You see what I'm saying? But when the media presents an idea for you to consider, now all of a sudden you start thinking about it. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, don't fall for every little thing. Look up the book Atlas Shrugged, okay? Look up the book Atlas Shrugged. Atlas Shrugged by Ian Rand, I believe is how you pronounce the name, man. It exposes everything about how the media, they basically tell you what to think. And unless you realize what's happening, you'll fall victim to it, okay? Don't listen to every little thing, especially as entrepreneurs, man, because we got to stay focused. Facebook came out with a report not too long ago saying that they purposely did put out several different stories and pushed them just to see if they can control human behavior and thoughts. And they succeeded and said they made people depressed.
The world has yet another reason to distrust Facebook. More than 680,000 Facebook users have been subjected to a psychological experiment, and it was done without the knowledge of the participants. The network set out to see if it could manipulate users' emotions, and it worked with academia to conduct a week-long test back in January of 2012. Those chosen for the experiment either saw only positive posts in their feed, or they only saw posts with negative words. The study showed that if you saw mostly happy words, you were a little more positive in what you shared in your status update. And you're slightly more negative when you're subjected to a week of doom and gloom. Now, we learned of this because the study was published in a science journal. And adding to the ethical problems, the study was funded by the government. Facebook was toying with people's mental health. But why? To learn if advertisements can take advantage of our moods? If you aren't posting much, will Facebook crank up the kittens to get you happy again? Well, with any study, the typical ethical practice is to get informed consent from your subjects, so people know they're part of an experiment. Facebook says it was fair game to test us because of one word hidden deep in the data use policy. You know, that document that none of us read. It states that your information may be used for internal operations and research. When I think of research in that context, I think of Facebook wanting to study where I click, not that I want Facebook to use me as a lab rat to see if it can make me sad. I wouldn't be surprised if an organization, perhaps the Federal Trade Commission, goes after Facebook for not being clear over how this research data was being used. But going forward, if enough people speak out and complain or shy away from using Facebook, well, then it could take a hint and it might be more transparent about future experiments. The network is on shaky ground as it is now with public trust. And even if you don't care to be tested on, you should care about this because Facebook is collecting health information. Facebook owns the fitness tracking app called Moves. And as fitness tracking bands and smartwatches grow in popularity, we have to wonder, what sort of health information will Facebook have on us? And can we trust what it does with that data?
Think about why do you always see certain trends always happening back to back to back to back. You had the little chicken sandwich thing with the Popeye stuff. You had police brutality was going at a like it was just rampant all over social media at one point. You see, it's always something different. Even this Tiger King stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it's always something that they're trying to push. You look at Google, you think about, okay, if you search a certain thing, they only show you certain results that they want you to see. You see what I'm saying? Or if you go on YouTube and you look at your feed on your YouTube channel based off of you went to a complete stranger's YouTube feed, it's completely different. Because they feed you more of what they think you want to see, or they feed you more of what they want you to see, versus the actual facts on particular information. And so you got to be able to decipher and read between the lines and see, okay, well, this is the actual facts. This is just opinion. This is propaganda, right? So you got to be able to smart enough to be able to figure this stuff out, all right? So I just wanted to do this video for you entrepreneurs out there so that way you can stay focused and locked in on your business versus falling prey to the propaganda out there. So understand what they're doing to you. Don't get distracted and don't get sidetracked by the manipulation that the powers that be will do, because all they're trying to do is keep you distracted so they can keep building for themselves, okay? Are they intentionally do it? Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? The bottom line is we know better than to fall for it. So now we can continue to build our wealth and build our businesses and make a bigger change and a bigger positive impact on the world, all right? So that's my video for today, man. If y'all like this video, subscribe. AJ Simmons, hit the notification bell. And if you thought about starting a cleaning business before, check out cleanbiznetwork.com. That's my website. That's my company. We help people start and grow cleaning companies. So if you want to learn more about that, go check that out. Talk to y'all later.